Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to learn how to make a rabbit sculpture. So, if you are familiar with Desert Cat Creations, I'm Paula Montgomery from Desert Cat Creations, and I have created this tutorial to make a crystal rabbit. Now, the tutorial shows you how to make it with several different kinds of beads. If you're interested in this, please comment below or message me, and I'm happy to share this tutorial with you. I'm also selling kits for the rabbits, so let me move this out of the way. So our kits include enough crystals, and these are beautiful crystals from a company called Beadoria, if you're not familiar with that. We sell a kit that includes 3 rabbits, and the colors will be different. I'm going to show you one of our new colors today when we make this, but you get enough crystals to make 3 rabbits in 3 different sizes. So you have the large rabbit, and just for reference, this large body is 30 millimeters, so he's big and heavy, right? And then you get a medium rabbit, enough to make a medium rabbit. So this is I think a 22 millimeter body. And then you get crystals for a little baby rabbit. And that one is an 18 millimeter crystal. So we are going to learn how to make those today. Now, this year's kits, those were our colors from last year. So this year, our large rabbit will have these purple ears. And then our medium rabbit actually is gold again, because I thought it went really well with this purple. And then you will get a baby rabbit that also has sort of a purple and greenish color. I don't have it with me, but if you don't have the kit and you want to buy the instructions, that's fine. You can learn to make them, but we're only going to show you how to make the ones from the kit. So each rabbit will come with 2 ears. These, if you have the directions, these crystals, even though they're marquise, they're top drilled, they will, you will use them in place of the dagger instructions. So the dagger beads also work as ears. You will get a body for your bunny. You will get a head for your bunny. And then you will get a little cottontail for your bunny. So for the large rabbit here, these are 30 millimeters. I recommend that the ears be pretty much the same size as the body, or larger. So if you look on the medium rabbit, we have the 30 millimeter crystals even on the smaller body, and it's fine. If you do them smaller, sometimes the ratio seems a little off. And then the body should be about half, or a little larger than half of the body size to get the right, what I thought looks like the right ratio. And then the tail. So for the large one, I use an 8 millimeter rondelle. I use 6 millimeters for the others. And if you didn't want to make his tail white and you have a, excuse me, a nice purple bead, feel free to use those. But then the last thing is we need beads for his legs. So on the large one, I like to put some 8 millimeter rondelles on each leg up near, they'll go up at the top of his legs. And then I include 14 6 millimeter ones. Now, you can make the legs however long or short you want. There's a few extra beads in here. The nice thing about this particular design is it's fairly simple. There's very little, complicated wrapping or anything. I use just a simple, what I'm calling a wrapped loop on the end of their feet, and to start out the on the tail. So, and then most of it's just really wrapping the wire around to stabilize everything. Now, I am going to use 20 gauge soft flex wire today. I like the 20 gauge because it's sturdy for these heavy beads. You could use 22 gauge. I wouldn't go thicker though than 20 gauge, just because you do have to do some wrapping around these crystals, and you don't want anything to break, right? And sometimes if your wire's too thick, it could break, because remember, all of these are glass beads. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, and tool wise, I just recommend a pair of round nose pliers, a pair of chain nose pliers, and then some wire cutters. All right, so first thing we could do is cut some wire. Now, I cut wires for the ears and the legs first. So you can choose whether you want to cut a separate wire for the ears and the front feet, or you can do it all on one wire. For the back legs, so I would cut about 3 inches. You probably don't need quite that much if it's the smaller rabbits, but we're going to go ahead and cut 3 inches for the back leg. And then I think we'll use the two wire method here. So I'm going to cut about 3.5 for the front legs, because they are longer. And you don't have to be exact here. I don't like to waste wire, but I can just wrap it around and use some extra. So then I need a wire for the ears. So I'm going to go ahead and cut, and I want to be able to do a little wrapping after I do that. So I'm going to cut about 4 inches for that one. All right. So I have my back legs, I have my front legs, and then I have my ears. So I have a wire for each of those. And then you'll need a long wire, and I would recommend probably 15 to 18 inches for the large rabbit of wire that's going to be basically putting everything together. I'm going to go ahead and cut 18. For this, I would rather have extra wire than not enough. And that's because, when I'm wrapping him together, I want to be able to really tighten things up. Okay. All right, so I'm done with my wire wrapping for the moment. So to prepare the feet or the leg wires, I basically take it and I go somewhere in the middle. You can eyeball it or you can measure it. And I am just going to wrap it around my round nose pliers so that I have a nice loop in the middle there. And so I'm going to do that for both of the leg wires. And the smaller the better. You don't need a big loop because it's just going to go around the wire, right? So then for the ears, I am going to put my wire through both of these marquee beads. Now, these particular ones are double-sided, so they're purple and they're kind of black on the back, right? So you want to make sure they're both headed the same direction so that you have your color showing the same way. And then I'm just going to bend the wire, kind of bring these together in the middle, and I want them to, kind of form a V. You want the ends to come together, and I'm going to pull the wire so that it crosses and creates basically I'm bringing the wire around the bottom. And then I am just going to gently put a twist in there just so it doesn't come across. So here's what I have. I have the wire going through there. I brought it back, bent it back so that it holds them together, and then I'm just doing a small twist so that it is connected there. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your long wire that you're going to use to put the body together, and I'm going to put a one of these, like I called it, a wrapped loop. So I'm just going to use my pliers, my round nose pliers here, to make sort of a double loop. So I have a loop, and it's completely closed, so because I went around more than once. Okay, then I am going to gently bend this so that it's parallel, or perpendicular to the long wire. So then I want to put the tail bead on. So basically, this is going to be the back of your rabbit, right? So there's holding the tail. So what comes next? You put on the wire for the rear legs. Then we're going to put the body on. And I'm not going to worry about that flopping around for the moment, but that's fine. Try not to sneeze here. Then I'm going to put the front leg on and the ears. So for the ears, I'm going to put this wire through the little gap in there that I've created, like putting this together. And then I'm going to put the head on. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a little tiny bead on here to give him a little nose. I'm not worried about doing that. So, but what I want to do now is make sure that, everything is not tangled up here. So my my leg wire and my ear wire can get a little tangled, and it's not the end of the world if they do. It's because we're going to be bending all of these things anyways. So, and then I'm just going to push things tight around here a little bit. So you can see he's starting to take shape, right? So, got my ears, got my head. I'm going to kind of go ahead and just bend all of these leg wires, and we can always bend them back down. That's the wonderful thing about wire, right? So I want to just hold those tight so that it's up against the back of the tail. And now I'm going to gently bring this wire, fold it down, and bring it back around his head. Okay, and I want to wrap in front of all of these wires and just, wrap it around. And then I want to wrap it around between the ear wire and the leg wire. So you have to kind of see where these things are going. So this is the leg ones. I'm going to bend them that way a little bit. I'll bend the ears forward. So when I come back around, I am going to go between those and around, and then I am going to go behind the leg wire. Now, if he's nice and tight, you don't necessarily have to go around the body, but I would recommend doing that. Now, this one I didn't. This one I did. So, I would take it around the bottom and I am going to just hold that wire down there, and then I'm going to come up and pull it real tight around between the tail and the body. So again, don't worry too much about those leg wires. Now hopefully things aren't too floppy, but you'll see the ears are a little floppy, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to go back along the bottom again. And I just want to make sure I head in a direction that we want to go in, right? So I am going to go back across, and I am going to pull that tight between those wires and then between the ears. Now, I don't want to go back around his head, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring it around around the ears, and I am going to bring it in front, and I am going to, hopefully I am not off the screen. I came through between the ears, then I'm going to wrap this around, and I'm going to come behind and around the other, through the center, and then back around, and just do that a couple times until you run out of wire. Now, when you get shorter, you might want to use your pliers to pull it kind of tight, and then just tuck it in, so you don't want the edges sticking out, right? And if it ends up in a weird spot, you can always trim it and just tuck it in. Now remember, I also have these wires that were here for the ears, so I'm going to, just bend the one up and around his ear and tuck it in. Now, if I had a longer wire, I could go under, but I can't, so I'm just going to tuck him in, and then I'll take the other one and do the same thing on this side. And all I'm doing is basically trying to keep the ears from getting floppy. All right, I don't want them moving around. I want them pretty much tied in there. And so now they don't flop, they don't move around. So I have a tail still. I have my rear legs. I put the wire through around the bottom so it's not really seen, and then we have the front legs. So all we have to do now is put beads on his legs. So for the back one, I always like to put the biggest beads. So I have 4 of these big beads, so they will go against the body. And then they kind of just sort of tuck in there and fill in whatever gaps. So then you just need to decide how long you want to make his legs. So I like, so like this one, I actually I didn't put the big one up next to it. So, whatever works for you, right? And you can use a mixture of colors here. For the back ones, I'd use 4 beads is my normal length. And you'll see I have just enough here that now I'm going to just do another one of these simple wrapped loops. So you just turn the wire and you're turning it around the pliers. Now you want to just keep turning until it's kind of tight up there, right? So the beads aren't moving around. And now I want to do the same thing for the other back leg. So again, I put the big one on, and then I put 3 more beads. And if you have some other beads in your stash that you want to mix in with these. I gave you all one single color, but you know, if you have something that coordinates, go ahead and use them. Make him your own. And again, I'm just making that simple loop. I am tightening it up. And I'm going to bend his leg in. You know, you can wait until you're done to do that. So now the front legs, there's a couple things you can decide. You can make them about the same length as that, and he kind of squatty and lays down. Or you can make him sit up on his back legs. It really is up to you how you want to maneuver him, and you don't have to decide that right away. But now we're going to do his front legs. So again, I'm going to put that big bead up there because it'll sit nicely and kind of snuggle up between the head and the body there. And then I just need to decide how long I want to make these his legs. So I like to use 5. I think is about my normal length. Now, you know, depending on the size of bead you're using, whether round or rondelles, it may change. And then I am just going to make sure I have enough room, and I am going to put my simple loop underneath there and tighten that right up against his body. Now here I do want to make sure that the legs are below the ears, right? All right, so last leg, we're gonna put that on, the big one on, and then we're gonna put our 4 on. So I've used all of the beads that are in the kit at this point, but like I said, you can make them shorter, you can add beads from your own stash. And then let's tighten that up. I like to make sure that my my loops, although I don't think anybody really pays any attention, like I tend to make them so they curl in towards the center, but it really is totally up to you. But there we go. We've managed to finish a bunny. He's in our new beautiful purple color there. And see, like I said, you can, I tend to have them just kind of sit like they're sitting on their back legs, like they're about to hop off. But you can, you know, straighten the rear ones out a little and make him sit up with his legs in the air. It's a little hard to curve his head down just because we've made that fairly stiff, but that is an option. But like I said, I tend to make mine sit like they're going like that. But you could also lay them down and put those legs out front, in which case, if you can do that, you might want to make them a little shorter, but you know, that's also an option. If the legs end up too short, you could make him fully lay down. So there we go. That's how we make a beautiful crystal rabbit. And once you start making these, just like real rabbits, they multiply. I have these all over my house in all sorts of different, made out of all sorts of different beads. But remember, the main thing is you want the body and the ears to be about the same height, or the ears can be a little larger, because like I said, it just doesn't quite look right if they're too short. And then the head should be about half the height. And then I generally just use, for the 2 larger rabbits, 6. This largest one has this combination of 6 and 8. It has an 8mm tail. And then on the other ones, you know, I just go smaller. The smaller rabbit has 4mm rondelles for his leg. But there we go. We have our crystal bunny. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to comment on this video. If you're interested in a kit, I do have them for sale. You get the 3 bunnies and the instructions for $20. You can get, if you're on Facebook, just instant message me, Facebook or Instagram. You can instant message Desert Cat Creations on YouTube. Just comment and it will come to me in the form of an email and I can respond to you. And then we would work that out, the purchase of that. If you like this video, please subscribe to Desert Cat Creations. I want to eventually be able to do more live content, and I need some more subscribers for my channel. If you're on Facebook and Instagram, please like and follow us there as well. And I thank you for joining me. And if you enjoy this project, please look at some of our others that are out there. I have a menagerie of crystal figurines that I'm making, and you will see more in the coming weeks. Thank you, and goodbye.